Derek, now we can sit back and actually reflect on that season. How do you put that incredible season into words?
Oh, do you know what? There's a lot of pride, satisfaction. But as you say, as you do reflect at the end of the season, you get asked so many times throughout the season what you expect from it, but I think we can all look back with that real sort of sense of satisfaction, the fact that we've been served at a far better effort than we did last season. Team's been more enjoyable to watch, been more enjoyable to manage. And I think by and large, if we'd said at the start of the campaign, we would have been fourth spot in Europe and Europa League qualifications. And with so many highlights, it's your job to provide highlights for the fans, you know what I mean? And I think that's a lot of games will live long in the memory. I think the fact that even at the awards dinner the other night, there could have been 8, 9 different player of the years, and nobody would really have questioned it. And I think we've made Kilmarnock relevant again. Being involved in the awards, being involved goal of the seasons, and just regularly getting talked up, and a real acknowledgement from everybody out with even Kilmarnock that we've had a strong campaign, and from that point of view, from a manager's point of view, it's everything I wanted the season to be. The team's everything I want my team to be as well. So there is a lot of satisfaction, and there's a lot of people behind all that. It's a club working as one, as we've said. I'm hugely dependent and grateful to my staff, all my staff. Everybody's got that influence. Any staff member who has an influence on my team and my players deserves a huge amount of credit. My close-knit staff in terms of Paul and Alan and Craig Clark and Burkey, these guys there's not a decision made on training, there's not a team picked, there's not a bench picked, there's not tactics picked without discussions, and for that I'm forever grateful, because as a manager they're a great sounding board for me, and we try and arrive at the right decisions collectively, and obviously we're delighted that we've managed to get the performance we've got out from so many. I think you need to look at individually. I think a lot of players have reached a good level, which is always a good sign. I think we've got a group of players, a lot of the players who have got the capability to improve, and we've seen a lot of those improvements this season, and hopefully we continue to see that. Obviously you've had plenty of experience of qualifying for Europe, at Aberdeen and plenty of times, but does this feel a bit different in terms of the achievement this season? Yeah, I think at Aberdeen sometimes it was taken for granted. It was a bit a given, especially maybe not after the first year, because Aberdeen hadn't been in Europe for a long time in that first year. But I think we expected to qualify for Europe after that initial season. We'd qualified for Europe way before the split a lot of the times, and it always looked quite inevitable. Whereas this time around, it was probably caught a lot of people by surprise, probably maxed out in terms of our expectations. But nonetheless, the best teams in the league finish where they finish, and it's been great for us that if we'd said we were going to be the 4th best team in Scotland at the start of the campaign, we would have been all over that. So we get our reward for this season at the start of next season with the European campaign, and we look forward to it coming around. I love it as a manager, I'll be honest. The cards were always tough for us. Aberdeen, we never lost a game where we were seeded. We went out to a lot of teams like Sporting Lisbon, Real Sociedad, Burnley, teams of a real high level, and we've got to make sure that when it comes round, we try and be in the best shape possible to take on a strong European team. And you never know, you might just catch some cold, you might get a few surprises, but I actually feel we've got a strength in us and a motivation in us to really look forward to that. And like all the supporters and everybody within the club, we're all bursting for the game. We can't wait for it to come around, but we're looking for a well-earned break. I think we're all in need of that and deserve that. But football's never too far away. My job goes on going because we're trying to make the necessary changes to the squad and the like. Planning's in place we've got the majority of the pre-season games nailed down as well. We've got our trips and our pre-season work planned, and we're ready for try to just kind of fine-tune my work ahead of that game. The thing is, in terms of preparation, the squad, you look at it
this time compared to this time last year? You know, as you say, you were going over to Linfield and stuff. At that point, just before that, you only had one defender in the door, no goalkeepers. You know,
you've still got to play the games because you've got the League Cup coming right between your eyes the following week. But you know, the team was unrecognisable when we played in Belfast and against Linfield and against Glentoran. No, was it Glentoran? It was Glentoran, wasn't it? Keep me right. We were a shadow of the team that started against Rangers, but that sometimes, and I said to you boys often enough, it's like but holding your nerve, not just making signings for the sake of it. We'd identified who we wanted to get, but sometimes you have to wait that bit longer. A lot of the English clubs don't go back, so we're back 19th of June. The English clubs are a lot of them don't come back to the second week in July, and then they want to see players through pre-season. Sometimes there's a new manager, so it's a waiting game. You need to be patient, and when you're not a very patient guy, that's hard. But you know there's going to be better days ahead, and you just need to suffer a wee bit. And you know, but I do think like in terms of what you're saying, in terms of the squad is far more. It's bulked up with good players, good pros, and we're better set for the campaign ahead than we were last year, clearly.
And obviously there was those kind of, much as we won the cup group, you know, there was kind of maybe questions, you know, in terms of performances going into that Rangers game, but that just set the precedent.
Yeah, I thought we actually navigated the League Cup pretty well, to be honest, because I thought, as you said, was just mentioned, the week before it, we were still a million miles away from what we wanted, but I thought we dealt with, because the League Cup can embarrass you. The League Cup can embarrass the Premier League teams. Because teams that aren't ready, there's no way we can be ready, there's no way we can expect the players to be at their best. And when you're not at your best, you're vulnerable. And you know, I thought we navigated the group well, to be honest. Did we win our group? We did, didn't we? Yeah. You win your group and you get rewarded with a tie against Celtic. And we managed to win that one. And I think, as you say, I think the Rangers game was one where we got a huge dose of confidence. I think we saw in that game the type of team we were going to be, and it was, and that really continued. To be honest, it didn't really tail off. We went through a few games without winning, picking up a few draws here and there, maybe around about September or whatever. But you know, the stats don't tell any lies. We were competitive right from the first ball, to be honest.
So you've mentioned previously the record that we've had since the 2nd of December, you know, with that defeat at Hearts since then.
And only Celtic. That was an own goal, we will.
Exactly.
Scabby goal, and we were good, we were decent in that game. I know we got a wee bit of criticism in that game, but we never, I thought we were alright against a team like Hearts who are a good side. I didn't think there was any between us. And I actually didn't think there was too much between us in all the games we played against Hearts, to be honest. But sorry, I interrupted.
I was just going to say, just in terms of that form that we've had away for the Celtic and Rangers, that win at Pittodrie in the Wednesday night, just after that was a big turning point in terms of...
December's always a month where, when the games come thick and fast, a lot of times you play 7 or 8 games in that period. And the team with a real focus, it really tests your professionalism in December, with Christmas and all the rest of it, and the games coming thick and fast. And I thought our approach in December was first class. You're right to mention, I think it was pivotal that we get that away victory at Aberdeen. I thought up to then we'd showed a lot of competitiveness and some decent level of performances. But winning a tight game was something we hadn't done often enough last year. And the difference between 3 points and 1 point is massive for a team, particularly on the road. So, and what a brilliant finish it was. It was a brilliant moment for Davy. It was a brilliant moment for us. You know, it was the start of, as you say, a strong run of form right to the end of the season, to be honest. I thought we were good in all the games. I thought we were decent in all the games except the game against Celtic here. And there's probably reasons for that.
And just after the Aberdeen game, 4 days later, we get the comeback win against Celtic. You know, that was another important one. Yeah,
and again a real highlight. And I think the level of performance again was magic. To be honest, players get confidence, and as the game went on, we were really aggressive. We were working. It shows what can be done. The crowd played their part in these types of games as well, because obviously everybody gets used to expecting us to lose, and a lot of teams in Scotland expect to lose against these sort of teams, and but I thought we changed the kind of mindset with that, and I thought nothing pleased me more than how we were second half against Celtic, because it actually was how I needed the team to be, the personality, the mindset, and just setting about the task and get the reward for it, and it was no more than we deserved on the day.
And just to take you forward again, the goal from Marley that secured top 6, what a way to do it with that goal.
Yeah, brilliant. Again, a tight game, a game that we could have won, but equally, if we don't come up with that big moment, we could have lost it. And you know, it was a brilliant goal. I thought we were good, particularly second half in the game, and it was no more than we deserved. But you know, afterwards, there was no kind of whooping and hollering that we'd got top 6. And there should have been. When I think about it, I don't know why there wasn't. I think there was a feeling in the dressing room that we should have won the game, and there was a quiet feeling of satisfaction that we'd managed to get the result. That secured that with a few games to spare, which was brilliant. But a brilliant goal, totally fitting of a significant goal. And equally with Vass's goal at St Mirren, it was whether that was your next question, but I think the fact that Vass then scores a goal that gets us our 4th spot was equally quite as fitting as well. So we've had some. Every team needs the guys at the top end to make the difference, and we've had Matty, Danny, Marley, and Vass at some point always chipping in, and we can be as fit and as organised and as solid as we've been, and the defence and goalkeeper Will and the back lot have been so strong and so fundamental. Different types of midfielders. McInnes and Lyons start the season so strong. Rory was injured, Liam Donnelly was injured. We see the emergence of Davy Watson in there. And then when McInnes and Lyons get injured, Donnelly and Polworth come to the fore, and Davy Watson, and you know, guys that you can hang your hat on. So we've had every part of the team at different stages working extremely well, but you still need guys at the top end of the pitch to make a difference, and thankfully we had that this season.
You say there was no real celebrations in terms of getting top 6. Slightly different in Paisley when we secured 4th. You doing the aeroplane dance?
Do you know what, it was totally impromptu, and I wasn't even thinking about celebrating. Obviously the fans were in fine fettle and gave us a brilliant backing that day, and it was a glorious day, and everything just seemed to be fitting perfectly for us. It was just that type of day. It felt like the culmination of so much hard work and so much that we all wanted. And I was trying to get the players to go and acknowledge the fans as we'd want to do it in these sort of instances. And I just saw Corey doing the aeroplane, and I don't know why I tried it as well, but his was much better than mine, and you'll not be seeing that again.
That game goes along the theme though, tight, important games, 1-0 win, you know, that goes along that theme.
On the road against our closest rivals, to be honest, do you know what I mean? And I'd like to have had a few more wins in the tighter games with Hearts, just to see if we could get a bit closer to them. But we managed to keep ourselves above the other teams with that type of victory this season. It
was a special day for the players, the coaching staff and the fans though, to have that moment, you know, with the fans in the away end.
Totally, and it felt like that was the job done. You know, I would still have 2 more fixtures to fulfil, but and ideally you would have the last game of the season at home in front of your fans and get that acknowledgement. That felt like that type of day for us, even though we were in Paisley. But we still, even though we lose heavily against Celtic the Wednesday, I think it needs to be said that the amount of supporters that stayed behind to make sure that there was still a recognition for the team's efforts was great. And another big support ahead of the awards dinner up at Dundee, and again another performance where we grind out. It was a meaningless game, but we grind out a result. And then the recognition comes on Saturday at the awards dinner. And great for the fans, sponsors, board, players, staff, families, all to be together in the one room. And quiet reflection really on what's been a brilliant season.
Now just to look ahead, the next set of games we're looking at is Europa League. You know, there's teams like Ajax, Sporting Braga, potentially Molde. You know, there's hopefully going to be a special night here at Rugby
Do you know
Park.
what? I hope there's somebody sitting in a room in Ajax asking the manager that you could potentially get Kilmarnock as one of the options. I don't think that will be the case, but just to be talking about it is great. You know, and you know, I think it's, you know, when you're supporting a club like Kilmarnock, there's the ups and downs, and that's part of being a supporter. But it's the same for the players and managers. There's ups and downs, but I think it's important we all try and enjoy the excitement of the draw. Once the draw comes out, hopefully it's not in some far-flung place, and it's someday we can go and enjoy having a wrestle with and see where it takes us. But just to be in that company, I would have hated to watch another team for Scotland be in our position, and I'm absolutely thrilled that we're in the mix for it.
The thing is, there's the talk, you know, we're guaranteed 2 games, but we're not there to fill up the numbers. We want as many games in Europe as possible, don't we?
Well, of course, I think from a financial aspect, you know, on-pitch performance helps the club, you know, so any extra finance we've got high up in the league as possible, strong cup runs, attendance is getting bigger, but Europe can be rewarding. It might not be financially rewarding for the club in the first couple of games, but if you can make a good fist to it and get as many games in Europe, particularly at home, the financial part of it is special. But from a professional point of view, I want my players to experience playing against different opposition, and my staff to deal with the pace of dealing with Europe and the league. And I know it can be a hindrance getting into your domestic season once the league starts. Absolutely it can, and you've seen a lot of clubs suffer for that. But you would rather have the challenge of that. You'd rather have of that to face rather than not having it. And so, of course, we want to go as far as we can. We're realistic that the first game we're going to be up against a team of real pedigree. But it's actually what you want, to be honest. But for too long, European football and Kilmarnock is synonymous with Connah's Quay, and we need to try and change it, and hopefully we can do that this season.